Hello, friends, welcome again. Friends, in one of my previous videos, I have discussed John Donne as an important poet of the 17th century. John Donne is known as the founder, as the pioneer of metaphysical school of poetry. In fact, Donne is known as a revolutionary poet who revolted against the traditional romanticism in poetry, and he brought about a new element in poetry, and that was metaphysics. And that is why John Donne is known as an important metaphysical poet. John Donne has written two types of poems all through his lifetime, and these two types are love poems and divine poems. It is believed that when Donne was a young man, in those years he has written love poems, and towards the end of his life, in the Middle Ages, he wrote divine poems. Holy Sonnet number 14 is a poem with a religious touch. So you can say that this is one of his divine poems. This poem is the 14th in a series of sonnets John Donne wrote from 1609 to 1611. During these 2 years, John Donne has published so many sonnets, a series of sonnets, and this sonnet is number 14 in that series. All these poems written during these 2 years from 1609 to 1611, these are all religious by nature, and these poems mainly discuss the themes of death, life, divine love, faith in God, and so on. Okay, and all these poems have most of the times references to the Bible. It is, in fact, if we talk about this poem, Holy Sonnet number 14, then this poem is a poem of divinity. It has a reference to the Bible, and this is a prayer to God. Now, friends, let's have a look at the poem itself. Let's try and understand the thematical concerns of this poem, and also we will discuss the poetic devices used by the poet. As you can see on the screen, this poem is written in 14 lines, and these 14 lines are divided into two stanzas. The first stanza carries 8 lines, and the second stanza carries 6 lines. So you can say that the first one is an octave. Octave is a type of stanza of 8 lines, and the second stanza is a sestet. Sestet is a stanza of 6 lines. So, in one of my previous videos, we have discussed different types of sonnets, and there we discussed Petrarchan sonnet also. So, friends, this sonnet written by John Donne is imitating the Petrarchan style of writing sonnets. When there is an octave and a sestet, it is known as a Petrarchan sonnet. Okay, now friends, let's start understanding the poem itself line by line. The beginning of the poem is very, alarming. It alarms the readers. Why? Because the poet begins somewhere from the middle. When we read the first line, we feel as if the poet starts the poem abruptly, and abrupt beginning all of a sudden somewhere from the middle is also an important characteristic of John Donne's metaphysical poems. The poem begins by an imperative sentence: "Batter my heart, 3% God." The poet asks God to batter his heart. Okay, to batter means to blow, किसी को मारना. कवि ईश्वर से प्रार्थना करते हैं कि मुझे मारिए. Batter my heart, 3% God. Now this 3% God is also a kind of metaphor used by the poet. It stands for, it has some references to the Bible. In Bible, they have discussed about this Trinity of God. This Trinity takes three persons. Okay, God Himself, number 2, the Son of God, and number 3, the angel of God, the messenger of God. Okay, so 3% God. He requests the God to punish his heart, batter his heart. Why? That we will read further. Batter my heart, 3% God, for you as yet but knock, breathe, shine, and seek to mend. To mend means to scold and to rectify, to correct. The poet urges God to rectify his heart, to knock, to breathe, to shine, and seek to mend, that I may rise and stand, overthrow me. The poet wants to rise again. Okay? The poet believes that his heart is full of evil thoughts, evil emotions, and the poet, that's why, requests God to rectify, to reform, to correct his heart, his thoughts, and the poet wants to rise again towards divinity, towards spirituality. And that's why he writes that I may rise and stand, overthrow me, and bend your force to break, blow, burn, and make me new. Break, blow, burn. This is an example of a figure of speech called alliteration. Okay? The poet wants God to break him, to blow him, to burn him, and make him new. The poet wants to start a new life because he believes that he has committed so many sins in his life by ignoring God, and now he realizes his mistakes, and that's why he goes to God and requests and bows down to him and tells that you please batter my heart, you please break, blow, and burn me and make me a new individual personality. I, like an usurped town to another due. This is a metaphor. Usurped town. Okay? This is a kind of metaphor. The poet compares himself with a town which is unlawfully governed by a king. जैसे कोई राजा किसी शहर पर चढ़ाई करके उसको अपने कब्जे में ले लेता है, ऐसे ही कवि मानते हैं कि मेरा हृदय, मेरी आत्मा के ऊपर किसी शैतान ने कब्जा कर लिया है. So he compares himself with the town, right? With a town which is captured by some king. I, like an usurped town to another due, labor to admit you. He says, I request you to please save me from the sins, but to no end. Reason your viceroy in me. Your viceroy, that means your angel is still is in me, in my heart. Viceroy here means representative. Your representative means God's representative is still there in my heart. Me should defend, but is captive and proves weak or untrue. My heart or my emotions are weaker and my thoughts are untrue. So the poet is making a kind of confession of the actions of the sins that he has committed throughout his life. In the second stanza, he says, "Yet dearly I love you, and would be loved fain, but am betrothed unto your enemy." I am betrothed unto your enemy. Now here there is a biblical reference. Who is God's enemy? God's enemy is Satan, Satan. Okay, so here God's enemy means Satan. He says, Satan has entered into my mind and heart, and I want to fly away from these satanic ideas, from these satanic emotions. Okay, divorce me. Okay, the poet again tells God to divorce the poet from this Satan, this enemy. Divorce me, untie or break that knot again. The poet wants to detach himself from the evil emotions and evil thoughts which are the representatives of Satan. Okay, the poet wants to become a better human being. The poet wants to surrender himself to God, and that's why he says, please help me to divorce myself from Satan, untie myself from Satan, and break that knot again from Satan. Take me to you, imprison me. The poet requests God to take him to the God and imprison me. The poet wants to live forever in the prison of God, and that prison of God is actually heaven. So the poet wants to achieve salvation. Salvation means मोक्ष. ठीक है, तो कवि मोक्ष की प्राप्ति के लिए ईश्वर को प्रार्थना करते हैं, कवि कन्फेशन करते हैं, कवि ईश्वर को प्रार्थना करके ये बात समझाना चाहते हैं कि आई वॉन्ट टू कम बैक टू यू अगेन इफ़ यू हेल्प मी, टेक मी टू यू, imprison me, for I accept you, enthrall me, never shall be free. आपके सिवा इस दुनिया में और कोई नहीं है जो मुझे यहाँ से बचा सकता है, यहाँ से निकाल सकता है. The poet wants to be free from the Satan, wants to be free from the satanic thoughts and evil deeds, evil thoughts. Nor ever chaste except you ravish me. Okay, except you, आपके सिवा और कोई मुझे बचा नहीं सकता. So friends, as you can see, the whole poem is a kind of a prayer to God, where the poet requests God to take him to heaven, to make him able to achieve salvation. Now let's discuss the poetic devices used by John Donne in this poem. John Donne uses metaphor and simile This figurative language of comparison is used in the very first stanza of the poem. He wants to illustrate, he wants to give an example of the anguished state, sadness of his mind, and his desire to free soul, mind, and body from the captivity of sin. He wants to keep away from the world of sins, and for that he has used metaphor and simile. The Trinity, as you find it in the very first line, the three-personed God. This is also a metaphor in which he compares, the God with a tinker or a metalsmith who gives a blow to the kettle to mend, to give a proper shape. Okay, so who is the kettle? The kettle is the poet himself, the sinner. And who is the metalsmith or the tinker? God. So here a kind of comparison is presented by John Donne. Alliteration is also found in this poem in line number 5, in which the sound b, the consonant b, is repeated more than 2-3 times. Better my heart, and actually alliteration begins from the very first word of the first stanza. Better my heart, and in the fourth line, fifth line, you find these words break, blow, and burn. When the same consonant is repeated more than twice, it is known as alliteration. In line number 5 and 8 also, John Donne has used simile to describe the sinner himself. He is like a town that has been unlawfully usurped by the devil. He compares himself with a town. So here also you can say it is a simile. Okay, then next also you find some paradoxes in this poem. Here the paradoxical words like rise and stand, it is quite opposite to the word overthrow. So here you can see this is a paradox. In the same manner, towards the end of the poem, the words imprison and enthrall, they go against the word. Paradoxically, the word free is used with imprison. Okay, so this is called the use of paradox in poetry. Okay, so friends, here we come to the end of this discussion of the poem. If you have any doubts, questions, or queries, do let me know. Do write to me in the comment section of this channel. Thank you. Thank you very much.